Right off the bat, the packaging looks like shit because I didn't get the actual bootleg package because I wanted to save some money. Well, considering this guy is from China, if I get the coronavirus and die, we know where it came from.
Well, the good news is I've had this guy for a couple of weeks and he hasn't killed me yet, so I guess I won't be dying of the coronavirus from this figure. Maybe the next thing I order from China. So, hello and welcome to like my first real figure review, not custom showcase or modification madness, but I think like my first figure review in like a long time. Huh. There's a bootleg. For today, we're going to be taking a look at the Mafex bootleg, China clone, whatever you want to call it, Spider-Man.
Now, whoa, before you get in the comments here and start criticizing Mugman for buying a bootleg, just remember, he is a broke college student, and for 20 bucks, I'm not exactly the worst thing you can buy. Even if I do have some minor hiccups. And minor, they're only minor.
Well, actually, he's really not wrong about the hiccups. For starters, like, sometimes this crotch piece keeps coming down. It's weird. And sometimes I think one of these legs is slightly more in than the other. That and this is hella loose and pops out. So, I guess Spider-Man was on dialysis and lost his leg. As you know, he comes with interchangeable hands and stuff, like the original. But there's just one problem with this bootleg. Some of these, they didn't exactly fit in. Like, especially the flip hands. I know for a fact they did not fit. And I had to go drill into some of these hands in order to make them fit. The ones that fit right off the bat were the magnet hands, the left-fisted hand, and I don't even think the relaxed hands fit, or maybe they did. I don't remember. Okay, without flash on, yeah, you can see his lips look more light, dare I say, pink, almost. I'm more 50-50 on that. I think it's better than how it was, but I don't think it's really all that great with my paint job. Oh, and the interchangeable feet, those things worked fine. Taking a closer look at accessories, we've got 6 webs. We've got this long attached web line, that piece right there is supposed to connect to the stand and go in the peg hole here, I'm guessing. Another web line that he's supposed to be swinging from. 2 of what I'm guessing is supposed to be about the same size, but one of these is warped web lines. They're longer web lines, 2 shorter web lines, and 6 pairs of interchangeable hands. We got wall crawling hands, wall crawling magnet hands, web holding hands, flipping hands, relaxed hands, and fisted hands. And we got the magnet feet, the regular feet. Mind you, some of these hands and, of course, the non-magnet feet come on the figure. That piece I just talked about, the mask, and interchangeable heads. And that aforementioned head will be on the figure when you get it. For some reason, for me, it was the Eric Larson head. But you get a Peter Parker head, Eric Larson head, and the Mark Bagley head. Not McFarlane. That is definitely Bagley's art. See, now what you can do is take your Spider-Man, take a head or something, right? Put that on, even though it's, you know, kind of loose. You can take a hand and you can semi-easily port that in, provided you know what you're doing. And provided you've drilled it so it actually fits, because that is a weird thing I've encountered, where they didn't fit and I had to drill a hole for the hand to fit in. It's just, no, let's throw on one of these web holding hands, actually. Like, as I said, aforementioned, if you know what you're doing, this should be easy. As you can see by how that's not fully on there, I clearly don't know what I'm doing. Now let's also go grab some feet. Let's go put on the regular feet that don't have peg holes. And I'm pretty sure the original is the same, but I feel like peg holes on figures should be kind of standard. I don't know, if it really bugs me too much, I could always just drill my own peg holes. Put on both feet. Oh, I got them on backwards. One of the other reasons why I like the magnet feet better is because there's something weird about like the peg in this hole. Like, doesn't go all the way through in some places, and as you can see, I can just shift it and probably come off. Yeah, I can fix it with a little Sculpey and super glue, but yeah. It's kind of why I like the magnet feet better. And to show off these hands, let's go put one of these web lines in. And provided you're holding the web line, because it's flimsy as shit for some reason, it looks pretty cool. You got him doing like that classic Spider-Man pose that also appears in Spider-Man PS4. So yeah, he's looking pretty cool. Yes, there still is a dog. We didn't put down my dog. We put down the pet balloon. That was the whole bit. It was an April Fool's Day joke. My dog is fine, mostly. Aside from if you pet her side, sometimes she'll yelp in pain, and I still don't know what's going on there. This has been a problem for several months, and the vets haven't seen anything yet. I still don't. Anyone know? Anyone have any Yorkies or Shih Tzus or a mix of both and can tell me what that's all about? Because I'm kind of worried. Oh yeah, and since we're doing all this before we really get into the thick of it, be careful of paint rub. I'm not entirely sure if this is lead paint or not, so wash your hands, I guess, and don't eat anything directly after touching them. You know, like as if we had the coronavirus, but you're lying to yourself saying you're only paranoid about the lead paint that is chipping in places, like right there, and I think, yeah, there's a spot right there. Still don't know if it's actually lead, though, and I don't know what kind of paint this is. I mean, it's kind of glossy and weird and almost metallic, and I kind of want to repaint him if this gets annoying enough, but I don't know if I want to repaint him this exact blue or something else. Now, overall, this figure looks like Mark Bagley's artwork until you put the Eric Larson head on it, which then it looks like Eric Larson's artwork. Yeah, it's like people are calling this like a McFarlane Spider-Man. If you really look at it, it looks more Mark Bagley than anything else. Logo included, like, it looks very Bagley. I suppose other than the front logo, it doesn't look terribly Mark Bagley. Looks just Bagley enough, and look, more paint job. And while he may overall look good, some of these webs do not, and I guess I gotta drill more into his hands because he can hardly hold this web. And this web is flimsy as all hell, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be firm on the original, but just hangs there. Now, things work mostly fine on this guy, but he is very, very squeaky. Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, you can, like, do the whole hand thing with the webs. With all of the webs, it works about the same. Works alright, I guess. But you see, he's got these relaxed hands. Like, you see, I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be able to hold this mask, but despite me trying... Okay, well, I guess I got it in, but the thing is, he holds it, like, really loose, like, I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to be on the actual figure. We can hardly hold this mask, or we can hold it better, but it doesn't really work out too well. Now it's time to go over the articulation. Apart, all my friends in college and high school like to make fun of me for going on about head, just the head. You can look up about that far. Of course. Doesn't really look down, but now when you add the neck in there, head can look up this far and this far down. You just got to take off the head and pose it because head is loose, like the neck is. Like I try to move it and it'll come off. Like, oh great, now it's gonna act nice for all of 5 seconds. Alright, and the shoulders go out about that far and about that far, kind of go up and down a little bit, and it looks like there's a shifting joint in the arm. Shoulders go farther back on this side and farther, about the same forward. So of course, you got a, what is it, a ball jointed shoulder, go out, it rotates. Hey, there it is, of course. You know, this bootleg is kind of a mess with that neck. Like, other than that, it's fine. Okay, where were we? Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows, and sometimes it gets stuck there, it's weird. The wrist pegs rotate, the wrist rotates, and there's a hinge. Diaphragm joint goes that far forward, that far back, and it rotates. They have waist swivel, but the waist also goes forward that far, back that far. So using the full range of motion, you can go pretty far back and pretty far forward when his head isn't coming off. Now, for the sake of diversity and because it stays on, I'm changing the head. That end, you got basically the same articulation and also changing the hands. So where are we? Waist joints, thighs move out about that far, kicks this far forward, that far back, but since it goes out, you can actually just rotate it all the way around until that happens. And God, it's really ratchety. Like, I have faith in this figure not falling apart because of that, but it's also annoying as hell. It's got a thigh swivel, double jointed knees. You got an ankle joint that's similar to like the wrist joint in the respect of it being, you know, a hinge, and also it rotates and it's like a separate piece. So in other words, you got ankle rocker that goes that far down, that far up, Hasbro's style and ankle pivot that they probably stole from import figures, and a toe joint. And well, there is one thing it doesn't have that some Hasbro figures have. It doesn't have boot rotation. You know, it does have ankle rotation. Come on, Hasbro, you can't do that. All the imports figures are doing it. Why can't you do it, Hasbro? Why? Also, seriously, toe joint. Why is that falling out of style? Like that, I feel like that is necessary for a Spider-Man figure. You did it on the 12-inch figure. Also, you probably could have fit a waist joint on that 12-inch Spider-Man figure, but you didn't. And now you're going to do that with your 6-inch Spider-Man. So my ass is about to go buy 2 of them so I can go cut them at the waist and try to make a waist swivel out of it. Because I guess nothing's more important than my megalomaniacal need to improve all the flaws I see in action figures. Never in people, though. People are flawed, and that's one of the things that makes them beautiful and wholesome. Alright, now I give the amazing Mafex Spider-Man bootleg a rating of, well, I'm going to give it a solid B. Like, it's not the original, it has some things to it, but it's still a pretty good figure, despite being a bootleg. Like a cheap China clone, it still is, you know, good. Now, let's get into size comparisons. And not the kind of size comparisons you do with your mates in the bathroom after you guys have been drinking at the pub. Here he is standing next to some figures on the Bucky Cap mold. We have Bucky Cap the Vampire and Bucky Cap the Spin Fly Boy who comes back to you. Here he is standing next to my custom Batman and another figure on the Bucky Cap mold. We have Carnage. This is relevant. This is very relevant. At least to the comic book cover, it's relevant. I'll let you take a guess. Here he is standing next to the Pizza Spidey and Pizza Spidey in the black costume, and they seem to be about the same height. Maybe it's because this guy's slightly lurched forward. It almost looks like Mafex is taller than him. The Mafex bootleg, taller than the Pizza Spider-Man. I don't believe it. Here we have one who's standing properly, and let's get his head up, and yeah, they're about the same height. I'm guessing his bootleg's taller than the original. Now from one iconic Spider-Man figure to another, we have McFarlane Light and McFarlane Dark. You know, was the fearsome foes with a new head, and let's, I guess they're about the same height. We have Ultimate Spider-Man, who, in my opinion, definitely resembles Stuart Eminem's art and not really, you know, Mark Bagley's art. I think the original bootleg that stands real short, that one could be a good Mark Bagley Ultimate Spider-Man figure, provided you repaint it to actually look halfway decent. And from one Teenage Spider-Man to the other, we have MCU Spidey and First Appearance Spidey. And as you can see, a little taller than MCU Spider-Man there. Here he is next to my Into the Spider-Verse custom Spider-Man and modified and repainted PS4 Spidey. I think they're about the same height. Last comparison to Spider-Man, I swear. Since he's been compared to an old Toy Biz figure, here he is standing next to the old Toy Biz Spider-Man Classic Spider-Man. God, he is short compared to this guy. Suppose now this guy works better as a Ultimate Spider-Man, which is kind of why I bought this new one. Yeah, new from a figure that's about as old as me. Right. I was originally going to use him for a custom Ultimate Spider-Man, but since mine is, you know, my original had paint rub and all that, and this guy was nice and in pristine condition, I decided to keep him. So maybe I'll buy another one of these and make it into a Mark Bagley Ultimate Spider-Man. Here he is next to a supporting cast. We have Mary Jane and J. Jonah Jameson, Infinite Series Black Cat, and now for some villains. Here he's standing next to Hyperion Wave, well, not Hyperion Wave, Hyperion Venom, and Hasbro's 2008 Venom. Here he's standing next to another figure on the Hyperion Wave. We have Captain America. We have my custom Ultimate Venom, who I say looks great with the added sculpt. Since we're going over Bagley / Ultimate Universe things, we have Ultimate Vulture and Ultimate Beetle, whose jetpack is missing, but I have the Beetle. Here he's standing next to the fearsome foes, Lizard and Scorpion, and I think Scorpion is actually quite a bit taller than him, yeah. Makes sense. Dr. Octopus, and finally, here he's standing next to the further modified Hobgoblin and the Onslaught Wave Green Goblin. The real figure was said to be like the second coming of Toy Biz, and this being only $20, I gotta highly recommend it. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and have a good day, everyone.
That's my boy, chock full of the right stuff. I don't know what the Blob brothers are doing on John's spaceship, but you won't stand a chance against them. This is the best day of my